So I used to have a selfish prick of a neighbor. This guy was a worthless drunk, and he was just inconsiderate with how loud he would play his music, his TV, and his video games. I remember the very first night that I moved in to this particular apartment. Like the first night I slept here, actually, slept at this particular apartment. I remember coming in, and I could just hear the music down the hallway, absolutely cranked. So it got to the point where, I just went over to the guy, decided to, ask him in a civilized manner to keep his music down. The problem is, he had his music cranked so loud that I was pounding on his apartment door, and he couldn't even hear me over his music. So I had to go outside, and I had to bang on his window outside for quite a while before finally getting his attention and telling him to turn down his music, which he did. He did turn off his music. The guy was clearly drunk out of his mind. But then later on that night, maybe around 3, 4 o'clock, like this was around 11:30 at night, by the way, when he had his music just absolutely cranked. And then maybe later on that same night, maybe around 3 o'clock in the morning or so, I woke up to him, like it sounded like he was playing video games. And he has video games up fairly loud. Thankfully, that wasn't long lasting. And then again, a few nights later, he played his music. He was playing loud music. So I decided to go over and politely ask him to turn his music down again. He, apologized and turned it down. But then a few nights after that, same deal. Maybe around 12:30 in the morning. It sounded like he had his TV cranked up. And I decided enough was enough. 3 strikes, you're out. I was polite, I asked him in a polite manner. I didn't go over there in a bombastic manner, yelling and swearing at him and name-calling him or anything like that. I asked him in a civilized manner, said to him, look, going to sleep shortly. Could you please turn your music down? So the third time I decided I had enough. I'm not going to ask him myself anymore. So that's when I decided to start calling security. So I called security to go and ask him to turn his music down at 12:30 in the morning. And I mean, there was several different episodes of this where he would just be playing his music too loud. There was one particular night, 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. His music was just absolutely cranked. So I called security. Security was there for about 10, 15 minutes, begging and pleading with the guy to turn down his music. I could hear them asking the guy if he'd been drinking. So clearly he was probably drunk that night. Then finally, after he finished arguing with the 2 security guards for about 15 minutes, he finally decided to turn off his music. This guy was just an absolute piece of work. I don't think he worked. And it got to the point where there were some times when I think he would just do it out of spite. Just to piss me off. He might just turn up one song during the daytime because our security, we don't have security here in the daytime. So during the daytime, I'd have to call the office. I'd call the office during the daytime. But by the time they come over, He's already turned his music down, so he might just play one song loudly just to piss me off, just to spite me. Well, anyways, this guy finally got what he had coming to him, because one day I came home, I saw an eviction notice taped to his front door, giving him like, I think, 5 or 6 days to vacate his premises. Turns out this guy had not paid rent in months, so they got tired of him and they finally evicted him. Evicted this loser. And the neighbor that I got to replace him, he's much better. Like the neighbor that replaced him, he's not home very much, and even when he is home, he's much quieter. Sure, I'll hear him nod time if he's like, sounds like he's assembling stuff or putting stuff up on the wall or whatever, but those are normal sounds. I don't have to deal with him cranking loud music or anything like that. So yeah, this is my story about the neighbor from hell. If you could like, share, and subscribe, that would be great. Thanks.